I don't want you to believe that you are too late. If you're that kind of person who's thinking, oh, my time is up, or oh, I should have done this when I was younger, you are exactly where you're supposed to be at this moment. Could there have been a different version of you doing something in a different timeline? Absolutely, it's possible. But don't let anyone confuse you, and don't let your environment tell you that you are far behind, your peers are getting ahead of you. This is your journey. And listen up, be the best you can be. And I know that's easier said than done. And that's something that I'm learning, right? Sometimes I look at my life and I'm like, am I exactly where I thought I would be? I think back to the younger version of me. I think the first real career path I wanted to take was to become an astronomer. And then I think somewhere in middle school, and I loved astronomy. I loved the science of it. It threw me into everything from astrophysics to the quantum realm, and I'll just be reading up Wikipedia articles. And then sometime in middle school, high school, I started thinking medicine, and and I think towards the end of high school, entering college, I was like, no, I want to write. I want to be an author. And somehow, by God's grace, I wound up being a software engineer, developing at a pretty, uh, uh, pretty high impact company. And I'll be honest, I still wonder, would I have been better off if my life panned out exactly as I planned? We don't know the story, right? We don't see the whole picture. And I have this unusual way of looking at things these days, and I'm working on how to better refine this idea. But I have this idea that everything has already happened, right? Everything has already happened. From the moment the world started, everything was planned out. Everything has already been set in motion. We're just living through it because of the conscious brain we have, right? Consciousness slows down time. Consciousness slows down the speed of eternity, right? And it allows us to have it weighs down on the sphere. I want to say, is that right? Maybe on the this is probably not making any sense to anyone. But if it does make any sense, if it is making any sense, comment and say yes, it makes sense. We understand where you're going with this. But consciousness weighs down on the field, not sphere. That's the word I'm looking for. For the field, I'm not sure whether I'll edit this out, but it weighs down on the field of time. Time is a constant. It's eternal, past, present, future, right? Consciousness weighs down on the field of time, and it forces us to enjoy experiences rather than just going through moments. And you can sort of see this as an experiment. Like the evidence for this is when you're when you're bored and it seems like time takes forever. You're in a low consciousness mode. Okay, will you say you're very conscious? Yes, but you can feel the weight of your awareness, your hyper awareness of the emotions around your circumstance. I hope this is making sense. Someone has probably already thought about this idea, but this is something I'm one of the philosophical things that I've been thinking about. Right, this idea that you are this idea that your consciousness, this hyper awareness, kind of weighs you down in time and allows you to painfully experience every detail. It's just something that I'm thinking about, and honestly, just like when you're super excited and you're in flow state, it's like you're less aware. You lose focus. You not that you lose focus, but you lose concentration to what's going on around you, and because of that, you move from this low hyper aware state to this very high ethereal state where your mind is not weighing down on time and it just looks like time is moving. The higher you get into these states, the faster time goes. That's why when you close your eyes and you dream, of course, you're no longer low in this low hyper aware state. You're in a very sort of dream-like state, and time just flies just like that. So consciousness weighs, like the more you can move things into the subconscious, the faster time goes. And I think that that explains for this might also explain why children this might also explain why children are able to experience the richness of existence much slower and more aware than adults. And the way I would explain that is, and I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a scientist in this field, so someone with an experience can give some kind of real scientific explanation for this. But kids are learning. They love learning and they're experiencing and they're absorbing the world around them. And this puts them in a very self aware, hyper aware state. Whereas adults, by the time we're in like 18, 20, 25, 30, right, a lot of things that we were probably learning throughout childhood has been elevated, promoted to a very uh, to a very high state, as in we've moved a lot of those things that we would be learning into the subconscious, and because of that we're not conscious of a lot of the things that happen. How many things in your life are you actually consciously aware of? Like the moment you open your phone, aren't you just like, is was that a lot of times you think, oh, I consciously did that, but a lot of it was subconsciously done, right? Think about it. When you wake up in the morning, right, you just instinctively bring out your phone. It's a habit because you've done this so repeatedly that, and time moves, right? You're just scrolling through. Your brain's not even thinking. You're just thinking intent. I need to do this. I need to do this. The brain just lifts its, goes into its toolbox of all of those things you've put in this very low energy, high spiritual state. So children, they're learning a lot of things. They're experiencing a lot of things, and time seems to dilate. But when they get into video games, for example, they begin to learn a lot of routines, a lot of things that move. I hope I'm explaining this correctly, but just follow me. They move a lot of these skills, like video games, um, uh, anything that gets them into a flow state. Video games is the best, like Fortnite, Call of Duty, right? They move all of these things. At first, it sucks, right? But they move all of these skills that they're learning into this this high level, not so hyper aware, subconscious, spiritual. When I say spiritual, I mean compared to the low level of super conscious, painful awareness, right? They kind of elevate and promote these skills to the subconscious, and where the subconscious is, time moves faster. So all of that to say, you are exactly where you need to be, and take that for what it's worth. Take that however you want. If you want to use that to your you want to use that to your advantage, try to slow down time. Slow down time by being hyper aware. Bring in a lot of the activities that you would place in the subconscious, move them into the conscious realm. The reason why time is going slow for you right now is because you are super painfully lucidly aware of what your experiences are. The moment you get into a state where you are moving, promoting all of these experiences into the subconscious, and you're doing them automatically, time just starts moving like that because consciousness weighs on the field of time. And so that's just an idea for anyone who, if you haven't heard that, I'm going to look into that a bit because I just started thinking about that recently. I've thought about it before, but I started thinking about it more recently. So, you know, uh, I hope that made sense to you, and I hope that's helpful. Once again, you are not late. You are not late. Okay, um, you are exactly where you're supposed to be in time. Now, what information you do with that is another thing, right? Don't be discouraged. Don't say this person is ahead of me. You do not know what journey they're on. There are some people that look significantly look like they've lived much longer than you have in the short amount of time that they've been allotted, right? So don't compare yourself to anyone. Take this as your journey. Take it slow. Find out what experiences make you really light you up. What kinds of learning? It's good if they're learning experiences. What kinds of learning experiences? What kind of journeys really light your brain up, right? And be aware that that as you make skills more automatic, time flies by, right? So always in every of your journeys, always chase after things that slow time down to help, right? But I mean, we don't want to be, it's just all about awareness. Don't completely sometimes, but don't completely give up all of these things that you. I feel like there are multiple topics in here, right? And I'm trying to. I didn't really plan what I was going to say, but it's just something that I want us to be thinking about. Uh, and maybe use it to your advantage. I don't think you're making a mistake, and I don't think you're a failure, and I do not think that you're wasting time. Now, the things you're doing might need to be realigned to make sure that it fits your journey and your path. At the end of the day, there are billions of people out there on this planet. Everyone's writing their story. There are some people that are. I can see some skyscrapers right now with lights on. Someone is working in those buildings this late. Maybe they started at 7, and honestly, they're still working. And they might be in a very hyper aware state, or they might be in a very um, low energy, high level state. And the high level I'm talking about here, once again, is that level of the subconscious where you've gone from the weight of for the weightier aspects of the brain that that kind of slows down time, brings mass and density to your self-awareness. So you're exactly where you are, and do what seems best to you, right? Not things that are destructive and evil, but pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to the signals your heart, your body, your mind is telling you, because sometimes we we, we don't realize that we've been given this system and this incentive-based system that's not in our favor. Don't chase someone else's dreams. So those are just my thoughts. I don't know if they were organized enough, but hey, I'm just gonna post it like that to the best of my ability, and I'll continue to work to refine. I know they say just like work, really plan, but I want this to be very natural, and I want to get better. I don't want these very filtered style of speaking. I want to continue to improve my ability to communicate and to communicate my ideas and to think on the fly. All right, my name is Obi. This is my channel. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's interact. Comment what you thought about this video. Maybe it was terrible. Maybe you didn't like it. That's fine. Everything you say will help me improve one way or another. And if you agree about what I'm saying about the consciousness, how it weighs on the field of time, I need you to comment anything scientific and technical about it. I'll try to look if I have some time later. So I'll see you guys in the next video.